Clarity on Fire, a podcast for people who know what they don't want out of their life and career, but aren't sure what they'd rather be doing.
In a world where it's easy to exist, but hard to feel alive, we, Kristen
and Rachel,
two certified life and career coaches, are here to help you cut through the information overload, get unstuck, and focus not just on how you can have a career you're passionate about, but how to create a whole life that feels fulfilling.
So join us here, where we serve up inspiration and down-to-earth wisdom in a way that only two best friends can.
We want you to experience the relief of knowing that, yes, you're allowed to want more out of your life and career.
And no, you don't have to wander through the dark anymore. Our job is to light the fire that shows you the way. Let's go. What are you doing with your life?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm not asking you. I'm asking people who are listening.
In general?
Yeah.
What is everyone doing with their lives?
I mean, here's the thing. I'm going to be in rant mode in this episode, so I'm just going to start in rant mode, and we're going to continue.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to barrel head first into
anyone
this episode.
Who listened to our last side chat they recognized that it was essentially a Rachel rant.
I said in the hat of a side chat.
With a side chat with some Kristen stories thrown in.
But then at the end, I said it should have been a wig. So maybe this is a wig of a side chat.
Is this maybe a wig with a hat on top?
Let's not get that far. Let's not go down that road. Okay. So I wanted to start by asking, what are you doing with your life? Because I know that people get a little bit scared of change. So do we all. And making big transitions, making big investments, like in coaching. But there's a reason that people do it, and there's a reason that it works. It's because the second you commit to doing something big like that, you are kind of forced to up level. Like it's not even a choice anymore. You have just up leveled.
I'm going to give an analogy.
Okay.
About how coaching is really helpful. So some of you know, I made an announcement a couple of weeks ago that I'm writing the Passion Profile book this year.
Yeah. Just writing the first clarity, the first in what will be multiple, I assume, unless we get lazy or die, Clarity on Fire books.
But this one's about passion profiles. I have been wanting to write this book for at least 5 years. It's one of those things that's like, yeah. One day I'm going to write this book.
Yeah, but you're not doing it.
But I'm not doing it.
You've talked about doing it. You've had meetings about doing it. You've tried to set intentions about doing it.
I tried to sit down and actually work on parts of it. I did not make any progress on my own. None, except just saying it's a thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Then I enrolled in a class where every week they teach me some things that are helpful. And I have someone who checks in, asks me how I'm doing, and holds me accountable. It's not exactly coaching because that's a different service.
That's the point.
That's not the point. But I am,
what?
As of the time I recorded, I have written through chapter 6 of this book. By the time you're listening, I'll probably be on chapter 8 or 9. That's almost half a book. So because I have the support, because I have someone walking me through it, holding me accountable, sharing some really helpful things to help me know what to do and get my thoughts together and take action. Yeah. Again, that's not even coaching. That's not even like the depth that we get into in coaching. That's like surface level coaching.
Yeah.
But I'm finally doing a thing that I wanted to do for 5 years. And really, I wanted to do since I was in elementary school when I told all my teachers I wanted to be a published author one day. But it never happened until I said, I'm investing in myself and I am getting someone to help me do this. And that is what coaching is, except you go even deeper. It's not just about one thing in your life. It's about your whole life. Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? That's the kind of stuff we're getting into. So this touches every area of your life, not just one goal, like what I'm doing.
Instead of coming out with a book, you come out with a different life.
Exactly.
Does that sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what I fucking have to offer you.
So if you've been saying, I want to do something different for a long time and you're just not doing it, that's okay. That's not how it usually works. Is like, also, I want to do a thing, but I'm scared. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where to start. I don't really know what to do. I'm not sure if it's even going to work. All of that has made you uncomfortable getting started. That's what coaching does. Hello. We will help you figure that out. That's what we're here for.
Can we please? Okay. I've heard two separate things from people that I've talked to about coaching in the past week or two. One was, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it. Yeah, great. Hello. Kristen knew what she should be doing for 5 years and she never did it until she had some accountability.
Yep.
Like that's human.
And someone to tell me what to do and how to do it.
Right. And in what order.
Yes, exactly.
And
where to start.
When you can think about something, when you have permission not to think about that thing yet. That's a huge part of what drains our mental energy is, I know what I should be doing, but I don't even know, is it the right thing? Am I overstepping? Do I need to like pull back and think about all the things that come before that? When do I, you don't have to think about any of that when you do coaching. The other thing I hear this all the time is, but I need to figure a certain amount of stuff out before I can start.
I love that.
Every time I'm like, okay, I just need you to know that is your anxiety talking. That is an anxiety response to thinking about doing coaching. You think you're going to get more out of it if you have quote unquote figured a certain amount out beforehand. I just want to disappoint your inner critic right now and tell them that you're not going to get any further ahead by doing that. That's what coaching is for.
You're just going to prolong the process.
Yeah.
Because you're holding off getting started.
Because
that's what we figure out with you. We're really good at that.
Yeah.
We have 9 years worth of clients who will tell you we're very good at helping you figure that out. That's the whole point. You don't have to do it on your own.
Yeah. And if you could have, you would have successfully already done that anyway. So just stop thinking you need to be a certain level of prepared. You're not going to get any further or any more out of it if you're quote unquote more prepared ahead of time. I promise you. Trust me on this one. Okay. All right. So if you're like, all right, okay, yes, I hear you. Fine. Then you can go to the link in our show notes, or you can go to clarityonfire.com, go to the Work With Us tab, fill out the form on the one-on-one coaching page, say, hello, I would like to talk to you.
Yeah, that's not even saying I am 100% definitely doing it.
I'm pretty serious.
I'm pretty sure this sounds good, but I just want to confirm. I have a couple of questions maybe, and I want to talk to you and make sure it's a good fit before we get started.
Yeah, and
we want to do that too.
Yes, hello. I want to make sure it's a good fit. I'm not going to spend 6 months with somebody it's not a good fit for us.
Especially now that this is the only option is to work with us for 6 months. That's half a year. We want to make sure we're good together.
That's a relationship.
Yes.
I'm not entering into a relationship with someone who's not going to like me and I'm not going to like them.
So we want to make sure for everyone's sake, it's a good fit. So we're going to talk to you first.
Yeah.
And we're going to hear you out. We're going to tell you a little bit more about the process and answer any questions. And then you decide. Yeah, okay, let's do this thing.
Yeah, and you get to decide. There's no persuading. There's no selling. I am not going to try to sell you on hanging out with me for 6 months. Hanging out with me should sell itself. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and if it's not a good fit, like no hard feelings. That's fine.
Go find someone else who you like better. Great.
Exactly.
Do something. Just stop doing what you're doing now. Probably right. The waffling, the indecision, should I do this? I don't know.
The overwhelm, the stress, the anxiety.
Just freaking do something. Okay. Do something different. Okay. So we're halfway through the coaching enrollment. We do not have all of the spots open.
No.
Like we started out with maybe 10 or 15. I'm telling you, we're recording this ahead of time, but I'm promising you maybe half.
I mean, before we actually opened enrollment, some of the spots were already taken.
Yeah.
So by now, halfway through,
again, first come, first serve, get in line. Just don't waffle. Don't be a waffler. Okay. We like waffles. We like waffles. We don't like wafflers. Okay. I mean, I'll talk to you if you're waffling. That's fine. That's what this is for.
But no waffling about should I even set up the conversation? If you're pretty seriously interested, just fill out the form and we'll talk to you.
Yeah, I promise. I'm not as scary as I sound on the podcast.
I don't sound scary on the podcast anyway.
Do you think that's true?
Yeah, that's true.
You think I'm not as scary in person as I am on the podcast? They don't have to know me in person. They just have to know me over
you seem
Zoom.
The same on the podcast, but that's just because I know you too well.
I'm not really scary though.
No, I don't think you're very. Okay.
I don't think anyone thinks that. I mean, if you
scary is the right word. Intense,
sure,
is definitely.
Yeah, but some people like that.
But some people might be scared of that. So I can't tell you what's scary.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're off topic. So I look forward to talking and potentially scaring some of you. But it's fine. Sometimes you need someone to kind of shake you and wake you.
And we will give a little tough love if we have to, because we want for you what you want for you. And sometimes it's hard to admit it to yourself.
You're in your way.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're the only thing that's really in your way. And so we got to scare you out of your way sometimes.
But
Not like jump out from a corner.
I'll
and make
scare you
scream.
gently. Rachel will scare you semi-gently.
All of my clients very much enjoy my brand of tough love and my brand of calling it like it is and making them look at things they might not want to look at, but also making them laugh. We do a lot of laughing on my calls.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And you do too.
Yes, totally.
Yes, this is fun. This isn't like
it's a fun process. Yes.
It's way more fun because you're not alone trying to figure it out. And someone else is like, here, I will tell you what to do. You don't have to think about this. Just stop thinking. Well, just stop. So much more fun.
So much more fun. So much more ease.
All right. I don't need to convince you anymore. I don't need to convince you at all. So we just
want to tell you what to expect.
Yeah. Talk to us. Okay. Can we talk about
today's topic?
Yeah. No, I hate when you do that. I told you I hate
today's topic. I should have been a professor. I feel like I would have been a good professor.
I have told you multiple times since you started writing this book, my number one critique of her book so far, and I call it her book because she's the one writing it, I'm the one editing it, is that she sounds like she's a friggin' professor. And I have to like not dumb down her language.
Not a like science professor. I'm like like a
humanities professor.
Yeah.
But I have to dumb it down.
I'm a professor that you would like to go to their lectures.
But like the book, I have to dumb it down a little bit, not because the audience is dumb, but because you're using words that no one actually uses in conversation.
But I was an English major. I love words.
I know,
but I understand.
It makes you sound uptight and like you wear tweed, and you don't. So
I would maybe wear tweed.
Okay, well, but not on a regular basis.
Not on a regular basis. Okay. No, this is why it's good. This is why we're co-authoring this. But yeah, I do. I love words. I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for my love of the English language.
Well, I just have to make it a little bit more like fun and a little bit less like,
Some people like my professorial air. I've got some like school nerds that I work with that we like nerd out together. It's great. Great.
That's great.
But yeah, I understand. Not for a book. Anyway, I'll say today's topic. What would you call it?
You don't have to be fucking reasonable. That's the topic. I don't know what I'm going to call this. Okay. So, where do I even start? So this is kind of like a part 2 of the side chat we had last month. So you don't have to go listen to that first. If you want to stop and go listen to that, you can. It was the one from April about your wants and your needs are very different. I would highly recommend listening to that. This is just kind of a continuation of a similar rant that I was having over there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
and that's because a lot of people were resonating with that conversation. And so we wanted to go deeper.
Well, also, I just wanted to rant. So there's that.
You haven't done an actual Rachel rant in a while.
Well, yes, I have.
But here we are.
But, yeah. Okay. So I'm just going to go dial it back a few months and just talk for a second. I've talked about this on Patreon, like on our bonus content. Haven't really talked about this as overtly on the podcast, but I'm going to sum it up in short here. Okay. If you want more, you can join our Patreon and hear like an over hour-long episode on this. But when I joined Hinge a few months ago, yes, I joined Hinge. Yeah, that's how I feel about
knowing
that.
You as long as I've known you, I'm amazed that you got to this point.
But not really amazed at my reaction to it, which was like,
no.
Ew,
zero amazement about that.
This is triggering me. So I very instantly got triggered by some of the dudes on Hinge, not because anyone was sending me like dick pics or being abusive or, anything like that. It was just, I was getting likes from guys who I would call it 7s. Now it's very easy to dismiss a guy if it's like a 3. You're like, oh my God, remember that guy I sent you the other day who looked like pedophile Colonel Sanders?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And did that not just describe him to a T?
And wasn't that the one that the algorithm had told you that day?
We were most compatible. I was like, excuse me, I have never been more offended in my whole life. Like this guy should be kept within like 100 yards of school at all times.
Oh God, it was bad. It's like exactly what you would imagine on the news.
I mean, like no offense to that man, but he did look like pedophile Colonel Sanders. But he was like prematurely gray. He was like 40-ish or something. He looked a solid decade older.
That was not the problem, was the premature gray.
His age is, there was a lot of problems. That was not, that was not one problem. Of them. So like that, I mean, it was
easy to be like, no,
what? I wasn't like looking at him being like, is this my life partner? I was like, oh God, no.
How quickly can I swipe to the whatever
you don't
direction?
swipe, you just X out.
Oh, okay. I haven't used Hinge. Just no.
No. And if there's someone who's really intriguing, like a clear 9 or a 10, like a hell yes.
That's easy to be like,
easy.
Oh, hey, I'll respond to you or I'll
tell
like you.
Those have been very few and far between.
Well, the 9s and 10s always are in every arena of life.
There was that one who was such a 9er. He was like a 9. You know which one I'm talking about.
I do know which one you're talking about. It was partially him and it was partially the land he lived on.
Okay, so he did have 250 acres and he did have a property and he was building other like houses on the property. He was going to be basically like be an Airbnb mogul. And he was really tall and he had all of his hair and he was pretty cute. And he had lumberjack vibes. And I was like, excuse me, sir, I will come and live on this land and run this Airbnb with you. I was like, we will have kids and my parents will come
chop wood,
and they will retire here.
We'll have 12 dogs who run around all the acres.
Scarlett will swim in the river. Oh, there was a river that ran through his property. There was mountains.
Yeah, I'm like half of if he was a 10 out of 10, 5 of it was him, 5 of it was his property.
Well, 6 and 4.
6 and 4.
Okay. But if he was ugly, I would have been like, oh, it's such a shame that he's ugly. But he wasn't ugly. He was cute.
Yeah.
And I have a rule that I don't, for the most part, send likes and messages because I'd rather stay in my feminine energy. See back to our episode last week with Carolyn about that. I'd rather, so I just think if I want to be in my feminine and I want to attract someone who's more in their healthy masculine, it just makes more sense to let them decide that they want to come to you.
Kick it off that way from the very outset.
Yeah, I don't want to be the one who's like constantly chasing you down. And like, that's
setting the precedent of the inverse of the energy balance that you want.
Exactly. I don't want to set a precedent that's not what I want. So anyway, but if someone really intrigues me, I will send a little like or send a little message. And I did send him a funny message and bitch ignored me. And I couldn't have been more offended. I was like, excuse me, we were to have a life together.
I had it all planned out.
Anyway, he was like a 9. Easy yes. Like easy yes.
Yep. No doubt.
Pedophile Colonel Sanders? Easy no. Where I get really, really tripped up is the 7s. And I had this amazing revelation, which I got into more detail in Patreon about, but long story short is that I realized some girls lose their sense of intuition when they're around a hot guy. I'm sorry, you're one of them. Or at least you have habitually had that problem where you go all hard eye emoji. Sure.
That's still true, but it was definitely true.
Anyway, your whole face turns into the hard eye emoji and you lose your sense of discernment because you get distracted by how hot someone is. I don't do that. No one, for the most part, like if you're hot, it has no bearing on if I can tell if you're a dick. Like I know you're a dick. I don't care what you look like. I know. What happens to me is almost the opposite, which is like when someone's mediocre, I lose touch with my intuition because it took me going on Hinge to realize this. I started a pattern a long time ago when I was a kid, well, a teenager. Where I got my heart broken by someone I was really into on all the levels. And then I told myself a story after I got my heart broken that, oh, I guess you aim too high.
Lower your expectations.
Lower your expectations. Be more reasonable. This wasn't conscious. I've had to untangle this. And it was only until I joined Hinge that I finally like put the last piece of the puzzle together and really realized, oh, I have trauma around this. Because what happened after I told myself to be more reasonable, aim lower, was I ended up in a series of relationships with guys who I was not really attracted to.
Because you thought that's what you deserved.
Because I thought that's what I thought I was equal to. I thought, and honestly, I wasn't thinking. But in hindsight, that must have been what I was thinking.
Yeah, it wasn't conscious.
Oh, you're behind. Well, also it was you're behind. You're 17. You never had a real boyfriend. You need to have a boyfriend. This is someone who's interested in you. Doesn't matter that you're not interested in them. It's fine. Right. And then I that was the pattern I was in for like 6 years from when I was like 17 or 18 to when I was like 24. That was the pattern that I was in. And my body was trying to tell me from day one, I don't like this. This does nothing for me. Actually, this feels awful. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be in this physical relationship with this person. Like, it doesn't matter that they might be smart or funny or whatever, popular, like you're physically, you don't want to be here. What I realized was, oh my God, when you are in a relationship with a man, or you're just having an encounter with a guy and you say, stop, I don't like this. This doesn't feel good. I don't want to do this. And they don't listen to you. That is sexual assault. Mm-hmm. If you do it to yourself, it might not be sexual assault, but it's trauma. Yes. Nonetheless.
Yes.
So what I realized is that Hinge was bringing up all of this unhealed trauma that I had around not listening to my body when I was in relationship with guys I didn't really want to be in, physically speaking. Because I felt like I had to, because I felt like, you don't really get what you want. You don't really get to like
take it in the message, whether or not you'd heard it spoken aloud.
No one spoke it aloud to me, but it was an assumption.
It was internalized belief based on the situation. Yeah. And as a kid, you didn't really know what this means. So you had to kind of make up your own story. I guess this is what I should expect. I guess I aimed too high. Don't do that again, because it really broke your heart. It hurt.
And it was like a public heartbreak too.
Ooh, that
like
makes it
other
a lot
people
worse.
kind of saw it and knew about it. So it was like, oh, never going to do that again.
Yeah. And so you internalize that message, which I think we all have in a lot of ways. Sometimes it actually is spoken to you. I've had a lot of people who, whether they're going after a job or they're going after more money or they're going after whatever, they have a big goal, they have a big dream, and people are like immediately try to take them down a notch.
Yes. Yes. So in joining Hinge, when I would see a 7, or I would get a very nice message from someone who I would look at and be like, this does nothing for me. This profile does nothing for me. This face, this body, whatever, does nothing for me. I would start to second guess myself and I would spin out. Because I'm like, well, should I be talking to them? Maybe you're being judgmental. Like, it'd bring up the like, well, what if what you want doesn't really exist anyway? Like, maybe this is like, this is realistic, right? This is realistic. Mm-hmm. I mean,
reasonable.
You've been watching Outlander this whole time. Your definition of realistic is way off, right? So here's the conclusion that I eventually came to. It's not true that I haven't felt excited and intrigued about normal people. They don't have to look like Jamie Fraser or whatever. Or like Michael B. Jordan. Oh my God, I would run away if someone like that talked to me. That's too much. I couldn't do that.
Overwhelming.
Yeah. So, but hey, the guy with 250 acres, I was down. Sure. I was down.
And I know of a couple other real life people who would have been down.
Yes. I know what you're talking about too. Yeah. And so I'm like, no, it's a fallacy that you have to be more reasonable because what you want is really kind of unrealistic. That's a story I told myself when I was young to protect myself from getting hurt again. So that really helped me to then easily dismiss like the 7s. And then when I would be scrolling, I would, instead of scrolling to see like, oh, can I find someone? It was more like I started scrolling to give myself evidence that I could naturally see someone and be intrigued by them and not have to think about it. Mm-hmm. And every once in a while, I would see someone who was intriguing or who was just hot. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to reach out to them because maybe they were dumb, but at least I could be like, oh, but they're hot. And I'm not second guessing it.
Feeling feels like.
Yeah, exactly. I was doing it more for the experience and the validation of confirming that, no, I know when it's a clear yes. I know when my body is saying yes. Mm-hmm. My mind is what gets in the way. My mind is what tells me you have to be reasonable.
More reasonable. Mm-hmm.
So I just want to tell all of you, please don't be reasonable. We're going to break down all of the ways in which you don't have to be reasonable. So as a 32 going on 33-year-old single person, I'm at the prime age for people to start telling me that you need to be more reasonable if you don't want to end up alone. I'm about to eviscerate this point, okay? Thing number 1, what you have just implied when someone tells you that, and if you are someone in your 30s and you're single or whatever, like I'm sure you're going to feel like this applies to you. What someone has just told you is that you being not single is more important than you having enjoyment,
real companionship,
attraction, right? Like a physical connection. That's not important. What's important is that you're not alone. Excuse me, I would rather be alone than end up with someone who I don't have that kind of connection with I've been there, done that when I was much younger, and it was awful. Why would I now, in all of my wisdom and glory, do that? No. I don't have to be reasonable. And in fact, me being reasonable created the trauma that I am now having to recover from. No, not going to do it. So don't let people tell you to be reasonable because you're of a certain age. And that's not just applicable to dating and relationships.
It's definitely applicable to jobs.
Totally.
To say you're overqualified, you're underqualified, you're too old for this type of company or culture, you're too old to make a change, you're too young to expect that. Like, age comes into the job conversation all of the time.
Well, how about you and I went to coach training when we were 23 and people were like, you don't have any life experience. What are you doing? And I'm like, I just like this.
Coaching also isn't about me telling you my life experience. It's about me getting very skilled at a particular skill set, which is called coaching, which I can do at any age.
Which is just, it's asking the right questions, which I can do no matter how old or young I am. Thank you very much. But that was not, quote unquote, a reasonable thing to do. If I had been reasonable about my career, I wouldn't be here right now. I wouldn't have quit all the jobs I've ever had.
I have a friend right now, a coaching friend, and she focuses more on the nonprofit world. And every time I talk to her, she's like, I'm so busy. I don't have any time for myself. I'm like trying to be of service to all these people. And I'm like, well, have you thought about raising your rates? If you're this busy, you can charge more. And she was like, well, it's not really reasonable because it's the nonprofit world. And I want to be more reasonable given like who my people are. And eventually she just got so tired
and burnout
that she was like, I have to now. It kind of got to this place of like necessity.
I bet I know how you're going to end this story.
What do you think happened?
She made more money and people kept paying her and nothing bad happened.
Nobody blinked at her new prices. Nobody blinked. And now she's like, I think I have to do it again because I have just as many people. I'm making more money now, but I have just as many people. So
what a problem.
She keeps stopping herself. And she's even said, I shared this with a couple of my other business owner friends, and they were like, well, just be careful because it's nonprofit and, their budgets are smaller and blah, blah, blah. And so she was getting it from her own internal critic, but she was also getting it from other people who were fearful for her. And they were like, well, we don't want to see, your business fail. We don't want to see what. And so their fears amplified her fears and made her feel like, I guess maybe I should be reasonable. Like I chose to go the nonprofit route. I need to be smart about that. And at some point she was just like, no, I don't think I can do this anymore. And guess what? Her reasonableness wasn't getting her anywhere.
Other than burnout and tired.
Now she's still burnout and tired, making more money and about to make a bunch more money.
Great.
She's going to do it again.
Great.
So like what really, your reasonableness created trauma. Her reasonableness created complete exhaustion and burnout. It's not actually working.
And also, excuse me, how reasonable is it to tell someone to settle for someone that they physically feel nothing for? I find that to be a very unreasonable request. I also find it to be unreasonable to ask someone to keep doing work when they're exhausted and burnt out, when they could be charging more. Why is that reasonable? Where is this coming from? Okay.
Fear. It's coming from fear.
Okay. So when people are telling you to be reasonable, or when you're telling yourself to be reasonable, what is it that you're really saying, or what they're really saying? Because often what it is I don't have the imagination to believe that better is possible. And I have limitations.
I'm afraid of change. And if you try to change this up, I'm afraid it's going to blow up in your face or blow up in my face.
So be small, shrink back, be reasonable. Don't rock the boat.
The devil you know, right? Instead of the devil you don't know. Like it's not actually reasonable to go with the devil that you know necessarily, but people will try to tell you that it is because at least you know it. Not actually any better.
Yeah. If you heard my update from last Tuesday, not last Tuesday, like 2.5 Tuesdays to go, May the 4th, go back to May the 4th. I told you guys that I quit my side job. And as of the time you're listening to this, I have been done with it for a week. And I bet you I'm not done yet as I'm recording this, but I am enjoying my freedom. You want to know what? A lot of people might have told me that was not reasonable. Because you have a mortgage. You need to be a responsible adult. First of all, I met with a financial planner, so get off me before I did this. who also told me that I was not being unreasonable if I needed validation. But, you have a business and you can't always predict how much money you're going to make. There's maybe going to be a gap between where you are now and where you ideally were before you quit that job. And you might not have needed all the money you were making, but you probably need more than you're going to make for the next few months before you kind of ramp up again. Is that really reasonable? Well, is it reasonable for me to stay at something that's taking up 20 hours a week and it's taking away from things that I could be doing that actually ultimately are going to make me happier and more magnetic and make me more money in the long run? No, I don't think that's reasonable either.
Mm-hmm.
I think instead of hot girl summer, we need to have unreasonable girl summer.
Be unreasonable.
Just be the most unreasonable version of yourself. Okay. All right. Can we talk about the difference between being unreasonable and being irresponsible? Because I feel like people are going to be like, well, but what is that really? They're going to freak out about this. They're going to have anxiety about what this actually means.
Which is why I'm actually not even afraid of our people getting to the, completely off the deep end.
Well, where you literally quit your job, even though you have $3 in your bank account, that might be unreasonable. Okay. That might be irrational.
The people who are listening to this, I'm speaking directly to you. I know our people pretty well by now.
Yeah.
Our people are not the ones who are completely, like you're saying, irrational, completely spontaneous, completely
if anything, they're overthinkers, overplanners, overanalyzers, perfectionists, people pleasers, high functioning.
You're the ones who are going to box yourselves in and try to be as reasonable as possible because there's a lot of anxiety about what else is out there. Will I disappoint someone, or will I make less money, or will the security go away, or will the love and acceptance of other people go away if I do the quote unquote unreasonable thing? I'm not really worried about you going so far that you hurt yourself or others.
Right.
I think if you stretch yourself a little bit, you're probably going to maybe hit the nice middle ground. And to you, it's going to feel like a giant stretch. There are some people out there who are genuinely entitled, narcissist, expect everything for nothing, think that they deserve the world,
that's unreasonable,
and they don't do anything that actually warrants that. That's not you. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm not worried about you being an unreasonable narcissist.
No.
Who's I just came out of college and why am I not the CEO of this giant company so far?
Or I'm Donald Trump and I think I deserve respect. That's unreasonable.
Right. Right. So don't worry about that. If you're worrying about that, you already don't have to worry about it because
you're clearly not a narcissist.
You're not a narcissist if you're worrying about that. They're not even thinking that they're being unreasonable. They think they're being perfectly reasonable.
Yeah. So okay, I want to just list all the things that we can be unreasonable about together. So we can be unreasonable about, quote unquote, unreasonable about expecting to be attracted to someone that you actually want to date. Yeah. You're allowed to be unreasonable about that. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're allowed to be unreasonable about asking for more money.
Yeah.
Whether
more time off too.
Exactly. I have a client
working
right now.
From home, remote work.
I have a client right now who really, really wants to take Fridays off work to spend time with her son and feels like it's unreasonable. And nothing really truly bad is going to happen. Their family's not going to become destitute. Nothing bad will happen of her taking back a little bit of time, but it feels unreasonable. It feels well, why can't I just power through this? I don't, I'm not that busy. I should just be able to kind of power through this one extra day.
No, you should not have to power through life.
Exactly. It is not unreasonable.
I powered through life until I died. Said no one ever on their tombstone.
Right. That's not unreasonable to call back some of your time. So ask for more money or ask for more time. Those are not unreasonable requests.
Yeah. Book yourself the nice version of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Be upgrade yourself. Get a new phone. Your phone's been cracked for 2 years. Get a new phone.
Not unreasonable.
I don't know. I'm just making shit up now. You're allowed to quit your job and not have another job lined up.
Mm-hmm.
That seems very unreasonable. And yet I've had so many clients do it and love the experience because they had a plan. They made a quitting plan. They weren't completely going to be destitute in a month. I'm not saying if you're going to be hard up and destitute in a month, maybe don't quit your job. Okay. But you want to know what's not unreasonable? talking to someone about potentially having a plan to quit your job, that's not unreasonable.
You know what else is not unreasonable? Starting your art project. That seems like a waste of time because like I'm not making money off of it and it's just frivolous. No, do the creative thing.
Or start your podcast.
Or start your side business or your full-time business. It's not unreasonable if you have an idea or some sort of inspiration or some sort of spark of something that you are deeply craving. It is not unreasonable to finally give yourself the permission to start it, even if you don't know where it's going to go or what the point of it is yet.
Can we talk about just like very vaguely the validation I got around this week?
You can go as vague as you want to go. I'll let you describe that.
Okay. How are we going to talk about this? Do I even care if this person hears this? I think he would just be flattered if he heard this anyway. Okay. So there was someone I knew who I had a very like innocent kind of crush on from afar, unavailable, like in a relationship with someone else. And that was fine. But I just admired him from afar. There were so many things I liked about him. Healthy masculine energy, smart, good sense of humor.
Very, very chill tempered, can kind of weather any.
But very masculine in his appearance too, and his athleticism, but
can hold space for
good listener.
Anyone else's energy.
Very steady and solid kind of person. And like I had a crush on, I had like this little baby crush on him for like a while. And I just got like a verbal wink from him this week where he was like, oh yeah, I totally like
feel the same.
Like same.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate you the way you appreciate me. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was on cloud 9 like all day because I was like, oh my God, it's proof that I don't have to be reasonable because I'm like, oh, he's the kind of person who, if he was on Hinge, I would be like excited to get a message from this person. I would be intrigued to get a message from this person. He's not like a 7. He would be like a 9. And the 9 is like telling me, yeah, I see you. And I was like, thank you for making me feel like I don't have to be reasonable. Like people like you exist. It's not unreasonable to expect that people like you exist out there.
And appreciate people like me.
Right? Yes. Yeah. I'm not like his version of pedophile Colonel Sanders.
Right. I hope you're no one's version of pedophile Colonel Sanders, but
no, I'm sure I'm plenty people's 7, but I'm definitely not anyone's 2. I mean, I guess
if like Matt Bomer, not only is he so hot, he's also gay. That's what I was going to say.
Like
zero
inch. That's like Henry Cavill. I might be his 2, and you know what? That's fine. Again, Michael B. Jordan is like, ew, 12. that's like a 1. That's fine. I don't need to be.
But you're not aiming that high.
I'm not aiming that high.
That would maybe be unreasonable to expect. That would be unreasonable.
Very unreasonable. I would question his judgment if he liked me. You know what I mean? Like physically. I'm sure he might like my personality or whatever, but I would be like, no. You could do so much better. Let me help you find someone better than me. I'll coach you. I'll take your money. Do you have any friends who are slightly less hot than you? Anyway, like just be unreasonable, please. Just allow yourself
to limiting yourself, because really all you're doing is dampening your desire. If you have a really strong desire or love of something, being reasonable is like throwing a wet blanket over your flaming hot desire. And it's like, no. That's way too much. Rein it in, put a box around that, find like the beige version of that, and then be okay with it. And that sucks.
It does. And you can't, when you do that, you also dampen your life force, your energy, like your mojo. Your mojo goes out when you do that. So like, if I'm unreasonable, then my mojo is lit up, which means I'm actually more of a magnet to people who can appreciate me for who I am.
Right. It's your desire. The reason you want the things you want is for a good reason. All of us want different things. I mean, maybe all of us want Michael B. Jordan and Henry Cavill, but on the whole,
most of us would not be upset to find them in our homes.
No,
randomly.
Probably not. But the things that you're looking for are different than the things I'm looking for. And that's on purpose. So if you have a strong desire for something, it's attraction leading you toward the right next thing for you. And if you dampen that, you limit what's possible in your life. And to do that to yourself is really, it's kind of cruel.
It
frankly.
is.
It's mean.
Why did I have trauma? I had trauma around it because it was cruel to force myself to do that for ages and ages and ages. And a lot of you have the same trauma around different things. You have trauma around forcing yourself to be in a job that you absolutely loathe instead of taking a risk and making some sort of quitting plan because it feels unreasonable. No, it's unreasonable to force yourself to be in a situation for that long that makes you feel like shit. That is what is unreasonable. And the biggest con that we've done on all of ourselves is thinking that it's somehow more reasonable to feel like shit than it is to feel good.
Yep.
That is fucking unreasonable.
Yes.
And also, I'm going to pause and mic drop there because if there's nothing else you heard from that episode,
that was a good tweetable.
That was it. That's all you needed to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we can call it. It's also 5:00. The dog is hungry and I got to go get us some vegan tacos.
That's always.
Yeah.
We're having a very good food day today.
We did.
As we record. Okay. Well, let us know in the comments what you are going to stop being reasonable.
Unreasonable girl summer.
That would be, I want to hear.
Or unreasonable guy summer.
I want to hear about that.
Oh, again, can I just say one more thing?
Sure.
One of my favorite mantras is God grant me the confidence of a mediocre white man, who is the definition of unreasonable. Like their expectations are actually very unreasonable. They're like, they think they're entitled to so much more just because no one's told them they're not. And everyone else, women, people of color, like everybody else is like, wait, but do I deserve that? And can I have that? And meanwhile, the mediocre white man is like, I'm 30% qualified for this job. You should definitely hire me. That's not reasonable, but he's doing it anyway.
And you know what? It often works.
It does.
Like, let us all get a little bit of that. Absolutely.
So yeah, like be that unreasonable.
Yes. You can do that. It's okay. The worst thing that's going to happen is that one doesn't go through and then the next one does.
Whatever.
Great. If you're unreasonable, guess what's never going to happen? You're never going to get the thing you want. If you just keep doing the reasonable thing, you're never going to get the thing you really want. And that's the truth.
Yeah. I mean, really, what story is like, and then Harry did the reasonable thing.
And then was overjoyed for the rest of his days. No.
Yeah.
No.
Harry was 11 years old. It was not reasonable for him to go down through the trap door, past the 3-headed dogs and the troll and the wizard chest. So he didn't.
It was unreasonable for him to go to Hogwarts at all. So he didn't. And he stayed with the Dursleys. And he lived happily ever after. Never. Never.
He became an intern at Grunnings where they make drills.
And he lived in the closet under the stairs.
Forever.
No. Stop being reasonable and go to Hogwarts.
Go to Hogwarts. Discover your mojo, your magic. Be a freaking wizard. Just, you're not doing yourself any favors, okay? Okay.
Okay.
And that's that.
That's that. And if you want a little help with this, that's why we're doing coaching enrollment.
Yeah, because it's very hard to convince yourself that you're being that you're to do something unreasonable when it feels scary. And the reason you think it's unreasonable is because you've got a lot of beliefs and fears and old crusty crap that's preventing you from believing something new or taking action. And we got to work through that in coaching. That's
and maybe you've lost your mojo so much that you're like, I don't even know what being unreasonable looks like anymore. Like I've been reasonable for so long. I don't even know what I would do.
Or you're afraid that you would go so hard that you would endanger yourself.
And if you're like, I need to like even figure out what my healthy unreasonable looks like, we can do that. We can like turn your mojo back on. That's what we're really good at in coaching.
Uggs, unreasonable girl / guy summer. Those shoes are somewhat unreasonable.
Yeah.
But people like them.
Yeah. They are kind of unreasonable. They're also unreasonably priced, but like people
pay them, right?
They love them. So yeah. There you go.
I mean, I have spent so much money on unreasonable things.
Totally.
And I'm like, this face cream is unreasonably priced and I friggin' love it. And it's slathering all over myself and it brings me joy, you know?
Mm-hmm.
The audacity. Really, another word for this is just be audacious.
Mm-hmm. Be bold.
Be bold.
Mm-hmm.
That's a more interesting life than she was reasonable and practical and she pushed through her feelings and then she died. Bad story. No one wants to read it.
Nobody wants that story.
Okay.
Can you imagine watching that Netflix show? Oh my God.
No, it would never get greenlit. No one would produce it.
Put you to sleep every night.
Okay. Link in show notes or clarityonfire.com. Go to work with us tab. Sign up to talk to us about coaching. Yeah. Be a little unreasonable about it.
You have one more week. So fill out the form now, and we will get you on our calendar, and we'll talk about it. And maybe this is your healthy, unreasonable thing to do.
Yeah,
for
fuck
yourself.
it, right?
Yeah.
Just fuck it. I'm going to do this and not think about it too hard. Okay. All right. We'll be back next Friday. I almost said Saturday. What a weird thing.
We would not be back on a Saturday.
I would never be back on a Saturday. We'll be back next Friday with a new message from the universe because you guys love those. I love doing them. So we'll be back then.
See you then.